Alright everyone, I'm going to show you how to use Baller, the backyard sports modding tool for modding backyard sports games very easily by What Is a Phone. This is the GitHub. It is github.com/whatisaphone/baller, and this is where you're going to download the tool, and then we're going to get started on a very basic simple mod that you can do in backyard sports games. And this one we're going to use Baseball 01. The first thing you need to do is, of course, download Baller. So you'll see here it says download the latest release. You're going to click on that, and it'll take you to this page, and you're going to choose the one that best fits your operating system. For me, I'm using Windows, so I'm going to use this Baller 0.6.2. I'm going to download it. It's a command line program or application, and it's not, when you download it, you can't just double click it to open it and use it. You actually need to use the command line to run commands inside of it. That's what I know. That's as best I can explain it, I guess. What I like to do when I start is create a folder. Mine's going to be called Baller Tutorial, but you're going to want to call yours anything else. Inside of it, I have the Baller program that I just installed or downloaded. I put it in there. That's the first step. Next, I created a folder for my extracted files that I'm going to take from Backyard Baseball, and then I'm going to be able to mod those extracted files and then rebuild them with Baller. So I like to have an empty one. I'm going to name it Dimitri Bat Mod. That's just how I like to work. I like to extract it into a folder of the thing I am making. Next is my Backyard Baseball 2001 game files, and the way you can get those is through Steam. You go there, you click on this little gear, and you go to Properties, and then you go to Installed Files, and then Browse. This is the easiest way to get there. You can also get there just by traversing this path by going to like Program Files, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Backyard Baseball 2001. And I copy this one, and I'm going to paste it into my Baller folder. What you're going to want to do also is paste it into a new one, another folder inside of your Steam apps, maybe, just to save it so that you have a clean version that's not messed up in case something goes horribly wrong. You need to re-extract or rebuild or make another mod. So I always have something there. Then I make another folder for my mods just to store them. And then, so that's how I set that up. Let's get rid of that. Now, the first thing we're going to need to do is open the command line. So we're all set up here. Now we're going to get the command line. To do that, you can do Windows R, and then you get this little thing. It's like, what's this? And then CMD. So this is very basic. If you are a pro at the command line, then you could probably do things a little bit faster or smarter, but this is the foolproof method for me for extracting and building and using Baller for basically those two commands. You can check and see if it's going to work by dragging in the application here. It basically creates a path, and then you type in version, a space and then version, press return, and that's 0.6.2. So now we know we're working. If there's an error there, you did something wrong. The next step, Baller says, is to extract into this folder here. So we're going to extract this, all the game files, into this folder so we can work with them. So we can do that by saying drag in Baller, the application there. We're going to say extract space, and then we're going to have two things we're going to pull in. The first one is this HO0 file from our Backyard Baseball 01 game files. And then we're going to make sure we do a space and pull in the folder that we want it to go into, which mine's called Dimitri Bat Mod. And I'm going to press return. Alright, once we have all of the files extracted, you'll see maybe some errors, I don't know. I got a bunch of unexpected bad data things. I'm not sure how much this is going to affect it, but here it says it's just got 0 errors, 54 infos. That's probably a good sign. And we're going to go check out the files. So here are all the files that Baller extracted, and then we are going to change Dimitri so that he has more batting power, because he's going to have an upgraded bat. And the way I'm going to do that is by going into where that is in the coding and the scum scripts Here I know it's in baseball.scu, and I'm going to open that up. I'm using Visual Studio. You can use any text editing file if you want. And I know that the area where kid stats is located is about line 8,800, and in this script 226 right here. So you can just find your way to that. And I have a bunch of these arrays. And they're assigned to different numbers, and then different numbers are assigned to different backyard kids. How do I figure out which backyard kid is which number? Well, we have backyard baseball resources. Many of you may have seen things like this. This is the hidden stats, and it will show me an ID number and then a player. And if I want to find Dimitri, I know he is now 21. So I can find my way to 21, and the stats should match up. Each one of these numbers here is a different stat. Starting with this first 0, I gotta move over a little bit. 0 is a lock. That's a position lock. We're gonna ignore that. And then we have stamina, intelligence, coordination, and so forth, all the way down. And we gotta find the swing power. Dimitri's swing power is a 28. So I see this 28 should be over here. And I'm gonna switch it to 120. So he's going to be even higher. That number there probably breaks at 257 or 256, or any minus numbers, of course. Well, wrong number. Yeah, 78 needs to be 120. What was I thinking? All right, I'm going to save. Control S, saving it, and I'm going to go to the next portion of this mod, which is changing what Dimitri's bat looks like. Now, the location of Dimitri's bat is going to be somewhere in these folders. The folders is where pretty much all the assets are, sound and graphical. It's going to be pretty tricky to find these things. They're not all documented, but some of them are. I need the walk up and the swing, right, for both those. So that's going to be in B-Kid Cause. Around 126 is Pablo. So I know that Dimitri's nearby. They're all in order. There's like 3 in a row for each character in this file. Pablo's probably about 15 costumes away from Dimitri. Let's check. There he is. So we have Dimitri's images right here. There's a lot of them. Holy moly. So this will take a while to change the bat. And then we can move up a little bit. Let's see, costume 110. Yep, he's right there. So 109, he's not have a bat, so don't worry about that. So 110 and 111, and I think 112 will be a different character. Oh, 112 is also in the game. So 10, 11, and 12, I'll have to edit. So in 10, I'll start with 10, of course, and we're going to make changes to anything with a bat. I'm going to make a little change for all the bats. So to do that, I need to use an editing program. One of the editing programs that works well for this is Gale. Other people have used GIMP. I've tried Photoshop, and Photoshop will mess up the images a little bit because it adds an extra palette to the image file, which is no good. So I've noticed if I ever use like Photoshop or need to use a different program, I'll put it into Gale and save it again. And that just will help keep the palette correct. The palette being the number of colors that are allowed and types of colors that are allowed in each image. So it's very picky about that right now. So we're going to have to do this one at a time. I think I'm going to try and just drag each one in by control clicking. We'll do something simple. So every time I'll just come in here, I will need to make sure I grab a color that already exists in the image, otherwise we'll be in trouble. I'm going to make this pretty simple, so all I'm going to do is use this outline color here. I right clicked it with Gale, we'll pick up the color, and then we're going to well, this is a bad image to start with, but I'm going to do like E equals MC squared or something. Let's do that, E. So that, we won't be able to see it that well. That's okay. It's stretched out. I'll save. Whoa. Okay, exit. I'm gonna save and exit each one. We got the walk up. We'll do the, you could do the swings later. Let's just build it and then test it and see how much I got done. And that's not too tough here with baller. We're gonna go back to our folder. I'm gonna drag in baller. I'm gonna go build. And then there's two files we need. It is, first we need project.scu is in our modding folder. And then we'll do a space. And I have to do the HE0 file again in our game files. Press return. Building takes not nearly as much time as extracting. It's pretty nice. No errors. Completed. Now we are going to move this modded folder into Steam and replace the old folder. So same idea. Properties. Installed files. Browse. And we're going to paste it in here. And replace the files in the destination. You don't need every single file. Only maybe 5 or 6 files will get adjusted. It's just easier to do it this way, I think. Less chance for error. So now that the new Backyard Baseball 2001 is in there, I know I have a clean version of the game with no mods saved. I can run the game, and we will see how this turned out. At least it might change his bat for a little bit of the game. Oh my goodness, that's loud. Alright, let's see. Oh, there it is. E equals MC squared. There's a special bat. And then it disappears because we didn't do the other folder yet. But that's how the modding would work. I would need to go into the other folder, make all the changes. And then let me not embarrass myself here. And his power's good. So that's excellent. That's how you do a mod. And peace out.